Welcome to Dunkeld. So in this video I'll be discussing what I've been doing since the Arbroath park run. I'll be talking about how I got to be massive and some videos that I'm planning to do on how I've managed to lose the weight. And I'll also be discussing what my plans are for 2025. I have some exciting things coming up. If you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And a big thank you to all the new people who subscribed after the last video.
Morning.
Hope you enjoy this one.
So I'm doing a nice walk along the River Tay today. It's a day off running. I've been hitting the treadmill fairly hard. And firstly, apologies. I was supposed to be doing another parkrun video to follow up on my 25-minute dead effort. However, I've been a bit unwell, so we went down to Hull and I did one of my Premier Inn special runs. So you go for a run early in the morning while everybody else is having the breakfast, and did a great run with Ollie around the fantastic town of Durham, and it was great. It was quite hilly. We did, I think it was 7 miles, and yeah, some nice footage here from that run. Unfortunately, the day after that I got hit with this damned lurgy, which has taken out I think half the country at the moment. It's been awful. So I was ill for quite a few days. I've only just started to really recover. My first run of the new year though was good. I did a one along the side of the River Tay down at Arbroath Ferry, and that was 14 kilometers at just quicker than 6 minute pace, 6 minute kilometer pace, so that was pretty good. But today I'll be going for a walk at the moment, and then later on I will be hitting the turbo at home, the bike, doing a couple of about an hour, maybe 2 hours on that tonight. But this is stunning, blisteringly cold, about what, -2, really chilly, but my goodness is it beautiful. Gonna go back and try and find out what happened to my family. They seem to have been delayed slightly. So a couple of things I was going to talk to you about on this video. One is plans for this year, what my aims are, and the other one is, well, I'm going to be doing a series of videos on how I've gone from being massive to reasonably fit and half the size I used to be. But I thought the best thing to do to start off with though is to actually explain a bit about how I got massive in the first place. I come from a big family. People in my family do tend to be rather large. And by the time I was 12, I was 12 stone. I'd always been the kid who got pulled out of class to go and get weighed by the school nurse and shown the little graph of height versus weight and told what I should be doing. So at 12, that was sort of pointed out that that was a bit of a major problem. So I got into sport, got into throwing things, and started doing a lot of training. And by the time I was 13, I was then nearly 15 stone. I then got really into sport to a sort of a fairly high standard and was training every day, which has been vital to my weight loss now. But I was training every day to the point where when I was 16, I was then up to 19 stone. I'll put the kilos underneath. I then managed to get down to 17 stone and got into hiking and the outdoors and started doing some big walks. Went off to Sweden for an expedition, and after the expedition in Sweden, when I was, how old would I have been? 17? 18? By that point I was up to 21 stone. Just to say as well, I'm 6'4", so I'm a big chap. I then went off to university, and just before my second year I had a medical, because I spent the second year of the university degree in the States, and at that point I was up to 24 stone and finished university, went to work, had a medical at the start of work, and by that point I was 26 stone. And I then enter the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages is a period from when I was maybe 25 until I was in my late 30s. But I've no idea what I weighed, until I finally saw the doctor and discovered I weighed twice as much as I do now. Now, for the whole of that period, I was either on a diet, planning to be on a diet, or really trying to be on a diet, and nothing worked. A lot of that, it's starting to snow. A lot of that was motivation, which I'll come and do a video on shortly. Eventually you have to make the decision to lose the weight. Not to try, but to lose the weight. And that's what I did. I'll come on to that in probably my next video. But as to why I'm so big, I don't really know. I am a compulsive eater. I really struggle not to eat. And I've had to find some tricks to sort the problem out.
So in the coming weeks, I'll be doing a series of videos on what it's taken for me to go from the size I used to be to the size I am now and the level of fitness I am now, with the aim really to hopefully help other people make the same journey, even if it's not quite as extreme as I've had to make it. So we're discussing things like motivation, what I actually do in terms of exercise, what I do in terms of food, and some of the little tricks that I really wish I'd known years ago, so it wouldn't have taken me quite so long to make this trip from massive to quite a bit smaller.
And so, plans for 2025. But firstly, wow, 2024. What a year. And other than the lurgy at the end, it ended pretty amazingly. We went up to Stonehaven to see the fireballs. And on the way there we had a really good display of the Aurora Borealis. Sometimes you just get a little bit lucky. So 2024 was a good year. Did my first ultra marathon. Got my 5k time down to 25 minutes dead. And longest bike ride at 130 miles. So how am I going to top that in 25? Well, the big challenge is the lap, which is a 47-mile ultra marathon that I'll be doing with Ollie in September. But before then, my first big aim will be to get rid of another 10 kilos, and in early March I'm going to do the Inverness half marathon, and I'm going to be pushing for a special time. You see, there's some milestone times in running. The first one that I think most people aim for, unless you're really fit to start with, is 30 minutes for 5k. The next dream is an hour for 10k, twice as far at the same pace. Now unfortunately when it comes to 2 hours, things get a bit tougher, because 20k in 2 hours just doesn't really cut it, does it? What you need in 2 hours is a half marathon, which is what my aim is for Inverness. Now the reason that's so tough is to do a 30-minute 10k, sorry, a 30-minute 5k, you need to have a pace of 6 minutes per kilometre for 30 minutes. To get the half marathon, you need a pace of 5:41 per kilometre for 2 hours, and that is what I'm going to be aiming for. The other thing I'll be trying to do is to push that 5k time down, and I would like by the end of the year to be able to do a 10k in under 50 minutes, which will be tough. Cycling, I have a couple of challenges. I'll be doing Ride the North again, but I'll also either try and do 150 miles in a day, or maybe even go for 200 miles in a day on the road bike, which will be a challenge. So I hope you join me as I have a go at these challenges and see how I get on. But yeah, wishing you a happy and prosperous and healthy new year. Thank you for watching.
So one of the tools that I use to film these walks is our little pet drone. It's called Neo. And it's really amazingly clever bit of kit, but you have to think of it a bit like a puppy. And at sometimes it can be a disobedient one. So it's supposed to come and land automatically in your hand at the end of a filming session. However, sometimes, you know, if you forget to give it a treat, it can get a little bit stroppy. However, it has to be said, like all pets, it knows who its master is. So I try it and fail completely. Ollie lands in his hand.